Did Predator just get Disney-fied? Yes, it did. There's no denying it. That is exactly what has happened. I mean, it's the first PG13 Predator movie. Although I haven't seen it, it sure had a lot of violence in it as far as I was concerned. I think they got away with this rating because it's a sci-fi fantasy full of aliens and robots, so there's no red blood. Ooh, work around. Now look, it hasn't been Disney princessed or even Star Wars'd. I would say it's been Guardians of the Galaxy, which is an interesting choice. It also reminded me a lot of a Saturday morning cartoon or a graphic novel. And to be honest, I think a lot of people will be surprised at how good this movie is. I certainly was. And based on this franchise's weak box office history, it sure could use more fans. Now, of course, the trick to expanding a franchise's fan base is not to lose or tick off the original fans as you bring in new ones. But of course, many, if not most franchises these days fail in this regard spectacularly. It's so bad. But Dan Trachtenberg, he won over a lot of original Predator fans with Prey, which had a female lead. So maybe he can succeed here as well. I do worry that Predator Badlands is a bit too modern, because clearly one of the influences here is the iconic Frank Frazetta. And his women were babes, right? Like, I was thinking maybe they should have done the Total Recall route with this, maybe. Another, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. But, in addition to Frazetta being an inspiration here, he, of course, also inspired Star Wars. And they put Leia in a metal bikini, which was and is to this day been a very popular choice. So while I couldn't love Elle Fanning more, I was so inspired by her work in this film. I saw it yesterday evening, so I didn't have a lot of time to throw something together, but I tried to approximate her look as closely as I could. I was like, Elle, you look amazing. She had the thumb holes. I was loving it. But I do worry how she might be received by some male fans, although she is giving total Manic Pixie Dream Girl, and those have been very popular as well. So maybe it'll work out. We'll see. So what is this movie really about? A lot of rumors circulating around it. Without spoilers, let me tell you a little bit more about this film. So yeah, as some of you have already surmised, this Predator is the runt of his clan. And well, no spoilers. I'm trying very hard not to have any real spoilers here, because one of the things I liked about this movie the most was all the surprises that I didn't know going in. A lot of great twists and turns. I think you should try and go in as fresh as possible. But let's just say he's about as popular with his clan as he is with a lot of original OG Predator fans. Like, other Predators would totally chuckle at your Temu jokes. They'd be like, haha, that's totally what he is. By the way, be sure to subscribe, because if you're excited about this movie or rooting for it to fail, we're all interested in seeing how it does at the box office this weekend. And as you can see, the bar is not set very high for opening weekend. And it looks like it's tracking to maybe be one of the biggest openings ever for a Predator movie. So that's interesting. So you won't want to miss Movie Math on Sunday, where we go over the box office. Also, spoiler review coming. So you want to subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you get a notification as soon as these videos go up. All right, so he's on his first real hunt to prove himself. Because, like a lot of creatures, he refuses to accept natural selection. Who accepts natural selection if you're on the bad end of that? He has a lot, so he has to learn and adapt. But at the same time, don't worry, he does really want to remain true to the Predator ways, the Yautja. I learned a lot about Predator lore. Some of you might be like, how did you not know this going in? Well, I know it now, thank you very much. And by the way, you don't have to have seen a single Predator movie to get this one. It is a total standalone film, an entry point movie. You can just go in and have a good time. And you'll learn a lot about Predators. So the film does, with all this in mind, make me think a little bit of The Mandalorian, right? As Din Djarin finds his life forever changed by Grogu, but is also still trying to stay loyal to his people and his ways. Not the bad Mandalorian episodes, the good ones. All right, so does Elle Fanning's Thea, a Weyland Yutani synthetic, change Dek? Yes, she does, but that's what happens in a real relationship, romantic or platonic, where you actually listen and respect each other, making a deep connection. How can you not change each other? Otherwise, one person is just the other person's accessory, and that sucks for the person who's the accessory. By the way, in the beginning, Dek insists that Thea is just a tool, so that makes him feel okay about working with her, even though predators hunt alone. So yeah, let's talk about the hunting, because this movie has a lot of great action. The world building in this film is top notch. Ooh, I love some good world building, as you know. We get just enough of the Predator home planet to establish our story and characters and pique our interest. And then Genna, the deadliest planet in the galaxy, which actually lives up to its reputation. Everything is trying to kill you here, and not just the monsters, but even the environment. Razor grass is super cool. I loved razor grass. To see the Predator, it was beautiful. All right, so to see the Predator at first fight his environment, but then with Thea's help, she's been studying this planet for 2 years already, learn to work with the planet, I think is very rewarding and takes on some of the best elements of Native American and Western storytelling. You know, Westerns. Our Predator is on this planet to kill the Kalisk, the deadliest creature in the galaxy, and that even his father fears. So he thinks that he can really prove himself if he brings the Kalisk home as this trophy. And when we finally meet the Kalisk, I think it also really lives up to its reputation. That was a cool, very cool creature. Genna is so well realized that if this movie does well, we'll see. Who knows these days, you know? It creates an interesting and fun new corner of the Predator universe and the Alien universe, as Weyland Yutani is on this planet with a battalion of synths. Oh, I love synths. Major kudos, by the way, to the VFX department for bringing all of this to life. The Predators, without their masks, their cheeks move when they talk. It was great. The synths, the Weyland Yutani technology, which I never get tired of. The creature, which by the way, unlike Alien Earth, it took its cue more from the more recent, Prometheus and Covenant films, which I thought was an interesting choice. And based on how Alien Earth went over, maybe the better choice. And then the creatures and the planet itself, all for just $100 million. Although, who'd they really have to pay as the cast, Elle Fanning, but we'll see if the movie maybe needed some bigger names. But anyway, that when you see the final product, it's very impressive that Dan Trachtenberg, the director, was able to bring this movie in for just $100 million. When you see it, you're like, that looks great. As I said, this film is plenty violent, even though it has a PG-13 rating. Beautifully violent. It's such a beautiful, pretty film. There's one shot, it might be my favorite in the entire film, where Dek, with Thea tied to his back, splits a monster in two. And they go right through it with like the purple blood, just all around them. And it was just an incredible beauty. It reminded me of like a gorgeous full-page comic book panel. It was just really, it was a work of art. I was like, that's beautiful. I loved it. I think it's that kind of creativity that has allowed Dan Trachtenberg to win over a fair amount, not all of them, but a fair amount of original Predator fans, even as he introduces more modern elements and themes into the franchise. It's like a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It shouldn't be medicine. The movie's also pretty funny, like in a Guardians of the Galaxy type of way. Don't worry, it's not like stupid funny, but I laughed a couple of times, as did my audience, and not at the movie, which was good. We even kind of have a nebula. And that statement, you'll find out, is truer than you might even realize. All right, but again, no spoilers. All right, so I'm happy to say that while the movie is funny, it's never at the expense of our lead, Dek. In fact, a lot of the humor reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger's more comedic movies. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger being in the original Predator film. But, even when Arnold Schwarzenegger did comedies, he still retained the image of a cool alpha male. And I think Dek is allowed to retain his dignity as well. The movie never laughs at Dek. He might find himself in a funny situation. I loved it when he first met Thea and she wouldn't stop talking. It was such a meet cute. I loved it so much. All right, so anyway, yeah, but I thought that was great. But Dek thinks being a killer is what makes a real man. But he learns that what a real man truly is someone who is a leader, who protects and therefore earns fierce loyalty from those that he protects. A valuable lesson that I would think would go over with some of the people who are so intent on hating this film. And since it's a PG-13 movie, Predator Badlands is good for families, right? I mean, if you think your child could see a PG-13 action movie, then they can see this one for sure. I mean, it has those Saturday morning cartoon qualities. But, it still pushes the edge of the envelope just enough to be a cool movie. Guardians of the Galaxy was very cartoony. This is a little edgier, a little darker. To be honest, I'm surprised it's PG-13, rated PG-13. If you told me it was a soft R, I would believe you. I mean, maybe they're getting a little bit more loose in their ratings to try and help movies do well. Because PG-13, if you want to make money, is the optimal rating. So, we'll see if it helps this film at all. While the first Predator movie is, of course, absolute cinema, right? I've never been a fan of the other Predator movies. I really wanted to like Shane Black's, recent take on the franchise. He was in the first movie, but it was awful. It did not work out. This is my favorite Predator movie. I haven't seen the first in a really long time, but this was really good. Again, because it reminded me of a comic book or a Saturday morning cartoon. But, Trachtenberg is trying to shift the franchise to potentially be something more, to bring in a bigger audience while maybe still retaining the core audience. We'll see if he can do it, but he certainly brought me more. I would certainly be interested in a Predator movie just because I like genre storytelling. But he made me excited about the Predator franchise. And that, I think, is great, just as long as he doesn't keep other people from continuing to enjoy it. All right, finally, let's talk actors. I'll admit, as a female viewer, Elle Fanning is what really made this movie pop for me. She is just so good, as I said. Her futuristic athletic clothing with the thumb holes, I was like, girl, you look good. Where are you getting that stuff? Sparkling personality and ability to hold her own, yet not overshadow our lead Predator. She does have a fight scene in the third act, which is so fun and so inventive. I can't wait to talk to you about it in the spoiler review. My audience oohed-awed, and I think at one point briefly applauded. Oh, it was great. I already loved synths going into this movie, and it's great to see such a good female synth character. A lot of people don't like Alien Earth's Wendy. She's a hybrid, I guess, and I can understand why some people would be upset about turning xenomorphs into pets. I can see why some people wouldn't like that. But I really think that Elle Fanning's Thea is like very much a synthetic in the broader scope of what people want synthetics to be. And I hope people really take to this character so that Elle Fanning can reprise the role in a sequel. Yes, the film sets up a sequel. There's I wouldn't even call it a mid-credit sequence. It's like there's like a blip and then they show you in one little stinger, but there's nothing at the very end of the credits. But anyway, they do set up a sequel. It's really fast, but it was so funny. It was very effective. I hope Trachtenberg gets to make that sequel. I really want to see it. That was my tweet when I left the theater. Sequel. I was like, I want to watch it now. Then, of course, there's our Predator, physically brought to life by Demetrius Schuster Kolomatangi from New Zealand. And I actually watched an interview with him last night. They had the premiere, and I was on social media because I was monitoring my tweet and the people who were being difficult because some people are trying to hate on this movie. And I was like, I became much more interested in the film suddenly because I liked it so much. So I was like, let me see this guy. And he has a very Taika Waititi vibe to him. I really liked him a lot, actually. He's buried beneath all this Predator makeup, and I don't know how much of the face, I don't know if it's his voice, but he's the physical presence. Just like there's an actor doing the physicality of the Mandalorian. It's not Pedro Pascal, and that's very effective. I believe he also does the physical performance for the father as well. But I think because of his he has a much lighter comedic feel to him in real life. But I think that allows him, he's very respectful of being a Predator. He's very serious. But I think because inside, as a performer, he has that humor to him, he's able to sell the humorous aspects of the film and probably retain Dek's dignity. Because, the humor, again, as I said, is happening around Dek. He finds himself in a funny situation, but he's still always a cool Predator. Now, the opening scene of the movie is two predators fighting each other with masks on, and I found that a little boring. I was like, all right. However, when the masks quickly come off and we get hit with a very powerful scene right away, I actually thought to myself, I can't believe they're making me care about predators. I was like, no, I felt really bad, and I really felt moved. And I was like, by these snake-faced creatures? But I did. I really, really did. I think being able to see the eyes is an important part of that. So that's why I think Trachtenberg made the choice to remove the mask. So it works for me because it allowed me to connect with the characters so much. And don't worry, at a pivotal point in the film, he puts a mask back on. So don't worry about it. But I mean, it all seemed very predatory to me. I went into this movie thinking it would not be good. But I ended up having such a good time watching it that as soon as I left the theater, like really on the escalator downstairs, it's still in the building, I took out my cell and I called up my friend and I was like, do you want to go see Predator Badlands this weekend? It's really good. Because I know she enjoys this type of film as well. Not as much as I do, but she's more of a casual, but she still is open to it. And I'd like to see it again. She's still deciding, because she's been burned by a lot of, comic book and genre movies lately. And, there's other stuff going on, but I got her to see Tron. And we, in IMAX 3D, and that was a great experience. But this is better than Tron. Tron Ares was a really great visual experience. Like really, if you didn't see Tron in IMAX 3D, I'm sorry to say you missed out. But this is like just a very strong film across the board. If you liked Alien Romulus and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, all the new Disney Fox movies, you'll like this one as well. I like this as much as Alien Romulus, maybe even a touch more because it doesn't go maybe a little too far with new ideas that maybe don't quite work. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen Alien Romulus. This, to me, of the three, is actually the most faithful to its franchise. It was really fun. And to be honest, I found it refreshing to finally see a movie in theaters. It's been a minute where I didn't have a single note. I loved it exactly the way that Dan Trachtenberg made it. And again, I would really love to see a sequel. So that's my non-spoiler review of Predator Badlands, hitting theaters this weekend with still plenty of seats available because nobody thinks it's going to be good. And for some reason, people are really trying to hate on it. If you don't have to like Predator Badlands, of course, it's up to you. But I hope you'll give it a fair shot. All right, so we'll see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. The social media reaction was very positive last night. But very often, the social media reaction does not line up with the Rotten Tomatoes score. So let's see if that positivity actually comes through. We'll see. All right, so share your thoughts down below. Again, subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.